హలో ఎవ్రీవన్, నేను రీసెంట్గా మన ఆన్గోయింగ్ బ్యాచ్ స్టూడెంట్స్ కోసం అండ్ ప్రీవియస్ బ్యాచ్ స్టూడెంట్స్ కోసం రెజ్యూమే సెషన్ తీసుకున్నాను. పార్ట్ 1 ఆల్రెడీ అప్లోడ్ చేశాము. పార్ట్ 1లో డీటెయిల్ రెజ్యూమే ఎలా ప్రిపేర్ చేసుకోవాలి అనే దానిపైన మనం డిస్కస్ చేశాము. అది చూస్తే మీరు హాఫ్ అన్ అవర్లో మీ ప్రొఫైల్ని పర్ఫెక్ట్గా మీరు క్రియేట్ చేసుకోగలరు. అండ్ ఇది పార్ట్ 2. పార్ట్ 2లో ఏంటి అంటే ఏటీఎస్ బేస్డ్ సింగిల్ పేజ్ రెజ్యూమేని ఎలా క్రియేట్ చేసుకోవాలి అనేది డిస్కస్ చేశాం. ఏటీఎస్ రెజ్యూమే కూడా చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్, ఎందుకంటే మన ప్రొఫైల్ని ఫస్ట్ స్కాన్ చేసేది హెచ్ఆర్స్ ఈ రోజుల్లో ఏటీఎస్ టూల్స్, ఏఐ బేస్డ్ టూల్స్ యూస్ చేస్తున్నారు కాబట్టి మన ప్రొఫైల్ ఫస్ట్ అక్కడ సెలెక్ట్ అవ్వాలి. దానికి ఖచ్చితంగా సింగిల్ పేజ్ రెజ్యూమే అనేది ఇంపార్టెంట్. ఈ సెషన్లో మా హెచ్ఆర్ కృష్ణ అనే అమ్మాయి జాయిన్ అయ్యి తను చాలా డీటెయిల్గా ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేసింది. ఏటీఎస్ రెజ్యూమేలో ఏ పాయింట్స్ ఇంపార్టెంట్, ఎలా మీరు ప్రిపేర్ చేసుకోవాలనేది తను లైవ్లో చూపించింది. సో ఈ సెషన్ మీరు మొత్తం చూడండి. ఇది చూసినా కూడా మీరు హాఫ్ అన్ అవర్లో మీరు మీ రెజ్యూమ్ అనేది క్రియేట్ చేసుకోవచ్చు. సో టోటల్గా విత్ ఇన్ 1 అవర్లో మీరు ఫ్రమ్ ద స్క్రాచ్ మీరు డీటెయిల్డ్ రెజ్యూమే అండ్ ఏటీఎస్ రెజ్యూమే రెండు ప్రొఫైల్స్ చాలా పర్ఫెక్ట్గా మీరు క్రియేట్ చేసుకోగలరు. సో ఈ సెషన్ కంప్లీట్గా చూడండి, చాలా అంటే చాలా బాగా యూస్ అవుతుంది. So now I'll hand over the session to Krishna. She cannot speak Telugu. She can hardly understand, but she will speak in English. Okay. Over to you, Krishna.
Hey, hello everyone. Good morning. And yeah, thank you so much, Shiva. I'm sure that was really helpful. Can you confirm if my voice is audible properly?
That is audible.
All right. Shiva, I'm unable to share my screen. I think you haven't enabled the permission. All right. So as Shiva mentioned, ATS resumes are also way important when it comes to landing your, any kind of job. Let it be a dream job, any kind of job. ATS resumes are really important. So before we begin, what's an ATS resume? Shiva already explained, but in case if anybody is not aware, the full form of ATS is application tracking system. So what does this mean actually? This is basically an AI software that helps the HR in any company, mostly like huge or large MNCs, basically to analyze and track the maybe thousands of job applications they get every day. Okay, so to put it in brief, this AI software, yeah, all right, yeah. So as I was telling, so this AI software is the one that scans your resume. Sometimes even before the HR checks your profile, this AI software might be the one who's trying to screen you. And this is exactly why it is very important, to make sure that your resume is also ATS friendly or ATS compliant. There are lots of ATS softwares in the market right now, and there are some companies, they even design their own ATS softwares by themselves. So so basically what this software does is it will scan the job description which is uploaded by the HR or maybe a particular department, and it scans your resume from your application, and it generates a match score by checking like various factors like keywords, then work experience, certifications, all those things. So this match score is what decides whether your application get shortlisted or not, right? Yeah, so that seems like a very important step, right? Because that's what decides whether you get shortlisted or not. Yeah, so let me show you a few things that you should keep in mind to make sure that your resume is readable by the ATS software, and also some criteria that is normally used by a general ATS software to basically assign that match score to your resume. Okay, again, when it comes to ATS resumes, it's really different from the resume Shiva just prepared, because ATS resumes are mainly targeting the AIs, right? So there won't be lots of unwanted information, or there won't be repeating information, because the software, which is an AI, it counts the number of words, it counts the number of pages. So even small things like that matters here. So don't worry about that. At the end of the session, I'll also help you with some tools that you can use to create an ATS-friendly resume, and also some tools where you can check your ATS scores. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So the structure that Shiva already mentioned, it pretty much is the same. So first we discuss about the summary, right? So the summary comes at the very top of your resume, and it basically gives a short summary of what you have mentioned below in your resume. So this is a very important part for your resume. So I'll tell you why. So let's say you got shortlisted by the ATS software somehow, but you still need to get a call from the HR, right? So I would say like maybe 95% of the HR may not be spending more than 10 seconds to check your resume. So they will not be able to go through the entire resume at times. So yeah, there you go. That's where you need a summary, and also to get shortlisted by the ATS as well, you need that summary part. So that's few points that I've mentioned here. So your uh, experience should be mentioned here in total number of years and months, and your job role should be highlighted. When I say job role, if you're looking for a DevOps role, you should mention that, DevOps engineer looking for, so and so. And so some keywords related to job profile. I'll show you an example after explaining all these, so you will get a better idea, um, what I'm referring to here. And Shiva has already prepared this, so I hope you're all able to relate to this. So keywords related to your job profile is nothing but some of the keywords that you use, like Kubernetes or maybe CI/CD. Some very very few keywords that you can mention in the summary can really help you get shortlisted, because that is also something the ATS software as well as the HR is looking for. And also it's advisable to add few quantifiable metrics, just like Shiva mentioned, maybe like 40%, 30%, something related to numbers to mention in the summary is, again, it's not 100% a requirement. It's only if applicable. Yeah. All right. So then the next section we discussed was skills. Skills. So Shiva added a table. So adding a table is always good, because, when you look at it, it's really helpful for somebody to read that, right? But it might always not get formatted. So if the formatting is not right, the AI software or the ATS software that we are targeting might not be able to read it. So that is something that you have to keep in mind. And if you're not able to add it as table, you can add as bullet points, or maybe like comma separated list as well. And one thing that I will always suggest is you can always bold that important keywords. So you might know like maybe 20 skills, right? But you don't have to highlight everything. You can highlight whatever is the most important according to the journey. Okay. All right. So moving on to the experience part, which is the most important part when it comes to a resume. So few things that you have to keep in mind is the first one, the previous experience is to be added in reverse chronological order, which you already did. You should be adding the first or the latest company as the first one, and then you should go below and reach the first company that you joined. And this one also we already discussed. We have to add the job designation, company name, client name. Some companies will have that confidential thing going, like, they might not be okay with adding it. So I don't advise it if it is a confidential thing, but again, feel free to add it if it is a very good client that you are handling. And yes, the third point is very important, the duration in month and year format. So I have seen lots of people mentioning, I joined a company on 30th of November 2024. never add the date, just add the month and year. It should only be November 2024, and or it should be August 2023, something like that, right? Okay, so bullet points. Yes, Shiva did mention that very well, and also he did use ChatGPT for that. I also suggest the same thing. You can use ChatGPT and use the star format. So when you use star format, you can use this in your resumes as well as your, interviews that is coming up. They will also be expecting the answers to be answered in the star format. And when it comes to the resume bullet points, even if it is not the complete star, the last 3 points, task, action, and result, these three should be very important because this is something including the hiring managers, everybody looks for this. Yep. And this point is very important when it comes to the ATS resumes. So the ATS always tries to track these kind of percentage in your resumes. So you have to make sure that you're quantifying at least 60 to 70% of the bullet points. So to get a 100% ATS score, you should be having 100% of your bullet points with some percentages. But it's, after the ATS, what if a human is reading? They will think like, okay, this is not humanly possible. They will reject you, right? So you don't want that. So I will suggest, in case if your ChatGPT or whatever tool you are using is giving you percentages in all of your bullet points, reduce it to like 60 to 70%. This will still give you a good ATS score as well as a good profile for your career. And another thing is you have to start with a strong action word. So when I say strong action word, there are words that we use like proficient in, or created, or so these are few of the words that has been used for the last 10-20 years by everybody in their resumes. So the ATS softwares are looking for words like leveraged, or some fancy words like that. So it's very easy. Even if you don't know the words, you can just, when you prepare these bullet points in using ChatGPT, you just have to mention that please start the bullet points with a strong action verb. This is an extra sentence you have to add, and ChatGPT will give you perfect bullet points for that. Okay, and you should also highlight keywords using bold format. This is something that I always suggest for everybody that's preparing a resume. Yeah, so that's all about the experience part. Then few other things that comes up is, yeah, the certification. So certification, once you have received a certification, or let's say it is a CKA certification, you have a particular badge for that particular certification, right? So you can just Google it, or maybe you have received an email about it. It's always good to add that in your resume, maybe in the first page itself. So it's a very good first impression when somebody looks at it, or when the ATS is scanning, it'll get to know that, okay, there is a certificate badge that is present in the resume. And add only relevant certification. So if you came from a very different background before and you're new to DevOps, and you don't have to show that you have a marketing certificate, or you have a certificate in something that you did in school. That's not required. You only show the relevant certifications. And coming to your education, only add your highest qualification. This is also a common mistake everybody makes for ATS resumes. Everybody will be adding your SSLC or 12th standard mark sheets and everything. So that's not required at all. You don't need to add that big table. You just have to mention what is your highest qualification. If it is MCA, add MCA, or if it is computer science engineering, add that. Year of passing is very important. Unless you passed out maybe 15 years back. If it is very recent, you definitely have to add that. So when I say 15 years back, you already have that much of experience, right? So that is not, year of passing is not relevant. Only when you have less than 10 years of experience, year of passing is relevant. And yeah, you don't have to mention your GPA unless it is very, very, very good and you feel like you will be able to impress someone. You don't have to mention anything at all. So let's say if you're having like 98 percentage mark or something, feel free to mention that, because that is an extra point for you, right? They are thinking that, okay, this person is really good. This person studied really well. So yeah, you can mention that. And yes, if you're planning to add your projects, so this is something that is specifically for somebody with not much work experience, like not much work experience as in worked in companies. So there might be students who are looking for or freshers who are looking for DevOps jobs. For them, they can use the same pattern as the work experience. And if they're adding a, so Shiva's project, which is a RoboShop project, if you're adding that as a different section, all everything remains the same as what we discussed during the work experience part. The bullet points, everything you can use as how it is, and you can ask ChatGPT for the same thing. Okay? And yeah, so there are a few important points that you have to note specifically when it comes to ATS resumes. So all these points have separate scores when it comes to when they try to scan your resume. Okay, so there shouldn't be any spelling errors and any grammatical errors and any punctuation error. So spell error, grammatical error, you shouldn't be normally making when it is a resume, because resume is something that is representing you, right? So when you're making some errors like spell error or grammatical error, it's not that good. But punctuation error is especially for the ATS resumes. So let's say you put a full stop here in this point and there was no full stop in the second point. That will also reduce score, because AI is the one who is checking that, right? So AI will detect that as some kind of inconsistency and you'll get your points reduced. You don't want that. Yeah. And yeah, in the beginning, I mentioned that the AI or ATS software will be counting the word count or number of pages. So make sure that your resume is not too long. 1 to 2 pages resume is, unless you are in that, executive levels, 1 to 2 pages is what is suggested by everybody for ATS resumes. And the date format should also be consistent. So this is a common mistake everybody makes, where for the first work experience, you might be mentioning that it is November 30 of November 2024. But in the next column, you or next work experience, you might be mentioning November as NOV. So this also, counts as an inconsistency, and this will reduce your score. So keep 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 in mind that that is also important, because that's a common mistake everybody makes. And yeah, so when it comes to ATS resumes, never include any unnecessary personal details, because word count is very important here, and your page size, page density, everything is very important here. So your personal details like marital status or maybe your hobbies, don't mention anything like that. So normally nobody checks anything like this anymore, because it doesn't matter, right? So they are not, the HRs or hiring managers are not supposed to judge you based on your marital status or hobbies. So won't suggest adding that. And yes, this is also an important point where you have to avoid all the repetitive phrases or bullet points. Uh, this is the this might be the thing that takes most of your time to make sure that your ATS score stays good, because you might have to ask ChatGPT multiple times to rephrase the same sentence. So keep in mind of that as well. And formatting should be consistent. So formatting is nothing but like the font, or you shouldn't be using sorry, you shouldn't be using two different fonts in the same resume, or you shouldn't be using in the same sentence itself there shouldn't be two different two different font sizes. So these are few things that you should keep in mind, because a human won't be able to see all these things, but our target is the AI, right? So the AI will be able to figure out all these things, and your score will go down. And yes, you have to avoid too many colors or any graphical icons. So I've seen people adding graphical icons like, um, instead of bullet points, they will add something like a something that represent that particular bullet point. Sometimes it will work, but you don't have to take a chance for that. I will just suggest that, just add a normal bullet point which will go directly through the ATS software. And don't add too many colors. So one bullet point or one heading will be in red color, the other will be in blue color. It should be consistent. Everything should be either keep it black and white, or keep only black, white, and any other color. So don't add more than three colors. And avoid using any fancy fonts and stick to the standard business fonts. Fancy fonts, when I say, there are lots of fonts that looks like cursive, or um, few that looks like, so I would suggest using Arial, or maybe Times New Roman, or maybe any of the Calibris are also fine. And when it comes to the font size, don't decrease it below 8 or something. At least 8 font size should be there. All right, so I'll stop sharing my screen now, and let me reshare with a resume that we have, so we can discuss that. I'll show all these points that we discuss right now in that resume. I'm not preparing a resume in live, but we can make changes, because preparing an ATS resume takes like around an hour or something. So I don't want to waste anybody's time like that. So let me share my Word. Yeah, so yeah, these all things I think Shiva already mentioned. These are the um like your personal details. So you have to add your name. Your name will be your the heading of the resume will be your name, and you should definitely add the location. So let's say if you're from Hyderabad, you can add Hyderabad here, and you only have to put maybe IN for India. Or if you're in Bangalore, you can add Bangalore. And yes, your email is very important. Then the contact number. So make sure you're not making any mistakes in any of the personal details. Sometimes it can happen, right? Because when you're copy pasting or when you're doing all the formatting, you might forget to check this. But before you upload your resume to Naukri or LinkedIn, or before you send it to someone, make sure you check all these things. So the phone number, yeah, add your LinkedIn profile as well, and add it as a link so that it is easier for somebody else to click on it and go through your profile directly. And same with GitHub as well. So one important thing is that whenever you put your social profiles here, you have to make sure that your profiles are also updated. So when you're putting it here, that means that people have the option to go and check it, right? So keep that also updated. So in case if you are making any changes to your work experience, so make the same changes in the LinkedIn as well. Yeah. Yes. So this is how a typical summary looks for an ATS software. So I took this example because there are lots of people that reach out to me telling that they are from a different profile, and they are now switching to DevOps, or they are only switching to DevOps for 3 years. So this is an example for how they can write it. You can start with DevOps engineer, and you can tell that you have an overall experience of how many years, and you can just highlight how many years of DevOps experience you have, because this is the important part, right? But your whatever you worked before, that is also important. So you have to mention both. You can mention, okay, I had 9 years of experience total, but in that 5 years is of DevOps, right? If somebody with full DevOps experience, you can directly tell like DevOps engineer with 5 years of experience. You don't have to mention DevOps again. And this is where I mentioned about the highlighting of your keywords. So here I have, just for an example, I have highlighted Docker and Kubernetes here. You can also highlight AWS. It's according to you. So um, whatever is the important skill for you, or what is a skill that you're most good at, you can add that. And just to convince the AI or the ATS software, I have added a small percentage here. But again, this is optional. You don't have to do that. But it's up to you. So this is an example of how you add skills other than if it is not in a table or tabular format. So you can, so if you mention it like this, the ATS will track it right away. Or if you just add comma and add the values like this, that will also get counted. It's up to you. So I normally prefer this, this format, so that it will, it won't be looking much clumsy, right? It has the separation, line separation. So I I suggest this. And yes, moving on to your experience, I have added the designation here, and I have added the company name here, and also the client name here. So in case if the client is confidential, as I mentioned, don't add that. And yes, right next to it, I have added the duration as well. Like I worked from April 2018 to June 23 in this particular company. Okay, yeah. So here comes the important parts. So the work experience which we discussed was the star method to add the bullet points. So here, if you read, established a Jenkins-based CI/CD pipeline, automating build, test, and deployment stages to achieve a 40% reduction in deployment time. So this is actually, we haven't talked about what was star. It was situation, task, action, and result, right? So we haven't talked about the situation right here, but we have talked about task, action, and result, right? Because that's pretty much what you have to include in all of your bullet points. But when you talk during interview, you have to mention S as well. You have to tell that back in the day, I had this particular case coming up. So this was the task that I had. Then this was the action I took, and this was the result I had. So let's see. So the task that you had was you had to automate build, test, and deployment stages. That was a task. And the action you took was you established a Jenkins-based CI/CD pipeline. And the result was there was a 40% reduction in deployment time. So that's how you do the star format. And we have pretty much added the same thing in all the points here. So you can see all the percentages here. So I'm removing some of the percentages from few lines so that you will get to understand the differences. It's up to you. So if somebody is checking in case if this is a resume, it is resume is the one that's going to the hiring manager, and they ask you, okay, you have mentioned 35% or 40% reduction. How did you achieve that? So you have to explain like how you did that as well. Like you have to compare. So previously this was the deployment time. Then after I did this, the new deployment time was this, so and so. Okay, so be prepared. Read through all the bullet points that you are providing, because you can expect questions, right? So the second company as well, I've added the same thing. And so this can happen. You can work as a network engineer. You can also work as a DevOps engineer. And it's up to you. You can add based on your experience. You have to mention properly in the summary. That is the only thing that you have to take care of. Okay, so here also I've mentioned the follow the same format. So if you notice, I haven't highlighted anything related to any of the tools here. You can do that if you feel like whatever job description you're applying to is, is relevant. If that particular tool is relevant, you can highlight that as well. And I've added certifications as well here. We can, so if you have one more certificate, you can add a bullet and do that. And for education, I've just added BTech in CSE and JNTU and year of passing. So this helped me with in reduction of lots of word count. So that will definitely help me to achieve a good ATS score. So the tools that I mentioned before to check ATS score or to prepare an ATS resume. So you can use tools like Resi or Resume Worded. So I'm gonna save this file right now. Let's run this on Resume Worded. I think it's already saved. Yeah, and another important part is, do you see how I've saved this file? I've added it with the name underscore DevOps resume, right? So that is most acceptable. So don't add any numbers. Don't add like DevOps resume 1, or don't add Sanjay's resume, nothing like that. Give your full name, add DevOps, and then resume. That is the right format. All right, let me open my Chrome. So you can create an account like this in Resume Worded, and there is an option to upload your resume here. And this will give you an idea about how your resume is performing when it comes to ATS. So I'm choosing mid-level here. You can choose your, so there is mid-level, then entry-level, mid-level, and senior level. I'm choosing the mid-level one here. So I've uploaded the file. Let's see. So this tool is completely free. There are n number of tools like this available in, if you just click in Google for, ATS resume checker, or how to prepare ATS resume, there will be lots of tools coming up. But don't just trust that particular software or website. Also use ChatGPT so that you can give your own input there. Okay, so the resume that we have uploaded right now has got 88 out of 100, which is actually a really good score. So, but there are still few improvisation that they have suggested, which is not, I don't think we need to make any changes because 88 is really good. So, but still the best part is that you will be able to see what are the changes that you are supposed to make, or where did you lose your scores. So they have told that quantifying impact is 1. So what they are trying to say is we need to add more specific numbers. So remember, I deleted few numbers just to make sure that, the resume was prepared by a human and not an AI. So that's why this has come up, but it's completely fine as far as, at least 60-70% of your bullet points are quantified. That means you're good to go. And next was repetition. So we're good in all those things. And then, so there are few things that will only, you will only get if you're purchasing a pro for resume worded, but those are like very advanced stages, so you don't have to look at it at all. See, without all those things, we already got 88 score, right? So that's good. And this will also tell you like if there is any unwanted section, you can change that as well. So I wouldn't suggest any resume if it is having like 100% score or anything, because that simply means that it was an AI who created that, right? We don't want that impression when it goes to uh, or when it gets shortlisted. All right, so this is how you check the score. And if you just Google Resi, you can use this one to prepare resumes. And also, if you just Google resume prep tools, this will not, yeah. So these are a few of the tools that we have, and there are lots of free tools available. But in case, they might be asking you to provide input. So that input you have to get from ChatGPT, like how Shiva told. All right. So any questions that I can address, or do you guys have any doubts? Yeah, so the education year that we add is the year that you passed out. It's not the starting year. You don't have to mention that you did 4-year course or a 3-year course, anything like that. You have to mention that 2024 was the year that I got passed out.
Okay. Krishna, if no
Yeah.
questions, I can conclude this session. Please send me
Yes,
that
definitely.
profile now in our WhatsApp group.
Yeah, sure, Shiva. Yeah.
Okay. Sai Pawan, you have some question?
Uh, like, do we need to maintain two resumes, like one for ATS resume and one for detail resume?
Yes, yes, please maintain that. It's good to maintain, right? If
Uh,
someone
like,
asks you suddenly, not every company uses ATS resume, right? So if it is a
mm,
startup company, mid-range company, they may not use ATS resumes.
mm, okay,
Okay.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, actually, this is a very detailed session we haven't taken till now because
Yeah, this
every
is
time,
a very good helpful session during this course.
yeah. Yes, so as you see, preparing resume is again a skill, like how you are learning Docker and Kubernetes. This is also a very good thing. Okay. So if you carefully observe, I will just conclude this. Okay. Let me share my screen. So if you carefully observe these two resumes, this is like more about mentioning more sections in a detailed manner, but this ATS is very, very crispy manner. It's more about saving the space, restricting or your profile to maximum 2 pages, even 1.5 page. So information is same here and there. Both places information is same, but here we are saving the space, not repeating anything. That is what ATS. Okay? And score should not be 100%. If score is 100%, we can recruit robots. No need to recruit humans. Okay. And as Krishna mentioned, few tips. Okay, please follow those tips. No extra decorations, no icons, no tables, no graphics, nothing. It is very simple, simple text format. Okay. So you have to save the space. Don't repeat. And spell checks, punctuation checks are very important. Yeah. So that's all. Both are same actually. Both are same. Content wise, both are same. But in detailed resume, maybe they are repetitive and we are not, AI is not checking our profile. That's all. So prepare these two formats. We are not sure who will ask ATS, who will ask detailed resume. Be ready with the both formats. Okay, whenever you are sending email, send this as single page resume and this one as detailed resume. Okay, I'll send you these two resumes in our WhatsApp groups and we'll also publish this video to our LMS and YouTube platforms. Okay. Santhan, you have some question?
Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yes.
Since I am trying to apply as a fresher to this
Okay.
DevOps shop, I have a
Mhm.
3-year gap, right? I graduated in 2021 and
Mm.
now I'm applying for the DevOps role. And my doubt is, how can I mention the professional summary here, professional experience here, work experience?
Experience,
Can
get the intern
we-
certificate. We will give you internship certificate.
Yes.
So I always advise you have 3.5 years gap. You can at least keep 2 years of experience. I'm sure you know how to get that experience. And
Okay, sir. Okay.
so first you can try as fresher.
Yes, sir.
If someone is
That's my
considering you, that is good. Okay. Yeah.
yes, sir.
Sorry.
Can we mention
One second.
one more doubt, sir? Can I mention our external project and RoboShop project in the professional
Yes.
experience, work
If
experience?
you are going as fresher, you can mention.
Yes,
If you
sir.
are going as an experienced engineer, then don't mention that. I told you already, right, how to mention the projects. Pick any
Yes.
project in the
Okay.
world, hit
Yes.
the Wikipedia description and mention the bullet points. That's all.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Srinivas.
Hi Shiva.
Hi.
Hi Shiva, గుడ్ మార్నింగ్.
Good
యాక్చువల్లీ
morning.
అది లడ్డిఫై యాప్ మీరు పంపించారు కదా, అది లాగిన్ అవ్వడం లేదు. అనేబుల్ టు లాగిన్ దట్ వన్. సేమ్ కోడ్ వీఆర్ యూజింగ్ బట్ ఇట్స్ నాట్ వర్కింగ్. ఎనీ
Okay, we will check that. We'll check that. So now, any questions regarding this resumes?
నథింగ్, ఇట్స్ ఫైన్.
Okay, I'll inform to check that.
థ్యాంక్స్ Shiva, థ్యాంక్స్ సో మచ్.
Yeah, most welcome. Nikhil Varanasi.
హాయ్ శివ, నేను 4 years ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ ఇన్ టీసీఎస్. సో యాజ్
Okay.
ఎ మాన్యువల్ టెస్టర్, సో ఇన్ దట్ కేస్ మనం లైక్ 4 years అలా పెట్టడం బెటరా, లైక్ డెవాప్స్ కింద డైరెక్ట్ పెట్టేయమంటారా, లేకపోతే 2 years మాన్యువల్ టెస్టింగ్ పెట్టి మధ్యలో ప్రాజెక్ట్ స్విచ్ అయిపోయి అలా ఏమైనా ప్రాజెక్ట్ చేసుకోమంటారా?
It's your wish. If you are confident, you can keep 4 years as DevOps engineer. సో మనం దానికి తగినంత నాలెడ్జ్ ఇక్కడ కవర్ చేసాం. 4 years ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ లెవెల్ కి ఈవెన్ 5 years కూడా కవర్ చేసాం. లీడ్స్ లెవెల్లో కూడా కవర్ చేసాం. ఐ మీన్ చెప్తున్నా, సో మీకు కాన్ఫిడెంట్ గా మీరు అన్ని ప్రాక్టీస్ చేస్తుంటే మీరు 4 years మెన్షన్ చేయండి. లేకపోతే 3 years పెట్టి 1 year మాన్యువల్ టెస్టింగ్ పెట్టండి. లేకపోతే 2 years పెట్టి అట్లీస్ట్ 2 years అనేది ఇంకా మినిమం, బేర్ మినిమం. ఐ ప్రిఫర్ 3 years. I recommend 3 years DevOps, previous 1 year manual testing. Then you can showcase yourself as I upgraded myself to DevOps engineer since manual testing is no more. Then I consider DevOps and cloud is a good technology for future, so I upgraded myself. అలా చెప్పండి, అలా బాగుంటుంది. 3 years DevOps, 1 year manual testing.
థ్యాంక్ యూ, క్లియర్.
బట్ రెస్యూమ్లో మాన్యువల్ టెస్టింగ్ చేసినట్లు కూడా పెట్టండి. లాస్ట్ ప్రాజెక్ట్ సింపుల్ గా ఒక 2-3 lines is enough. This much is enough. Maximum.
ఓకే సార్, థ్యాంక్ యూ.
Reddy Venkat.
Hello. Sure.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, Shiva. How are you, Shiva?
Fine, bro. How are you?
Fine. యాక్చువల్గా శివ, ఫ్రెషర్గా మీరు రెజ్యూమ్ ప్రిపరేషన్కి కొంచెం అడ్వాన్స్గా ఏమైనా చెప్తారా?
ఫ్రెషర్ కి అడ్వాన్స్డ్ గా ఏముంది, ఇంతకు మించి అడ్వాన్స్ రా.
అంటే
ఆల్రెడీ
ఇది
ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్డ్ గే చేస్తాం.
ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ కాకుండా మామూలు ఫ్రెషర్లకు అయితే ఎట్లుంటది అంటే, ఇప్పుడు ఇంటర్న్షిప్ అని చెప్పారు కదా, ఇంటర్న్షిప్ అంటే 3 months కానీ పెట్టాలా మేము? ఎలా
3 months 6 months పెట్టండి, నాకు మెసేజ్ చేయండి, మేము సర్టిఫికేట్ ఇస్తాం, ఇంటర్న్షిప్ సర్టిఫికేట్. మీరు ఎప్పుడు బీటెక్?
డిగ్రీ పాస్ అవుట్ 2022.
22, 24. Okay, you can try as fresher with internship. Okay, డైరెక్ట్ గా ఫ్రెషర్ అంటే ఎవరు కన్సిడర్ చేయకపోవచ్చు. అట్లీస్ట్ ఇంటర్న్షిప్ అంటే ఓకే కొంచెం బెటర్ కదా. అండ్ మనం చేసిన ప్రాక్టీస్, మనం చెప్పిన దాంట్లో 20-30% ప్రాక్టీస్ చేసినా కూడా దెన్ యు ఆర్ మోర్ క్వాలిఫైడ్. ఓకే, ఫస్ట్ ట్రై యాజ్ ఫ్రెషర్ విత్ ఇంటర్న్షిప్. ఓకే, ఇంటర్న్ లాగా ట్రై చేయండి. వర్కౌట్ అవ్వకపోతే అప్పుడు ఒక 2 years ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ తో ట్రై చేయండి.
ఓకే శివ. అండ్ ఇంకోటి ఇంటర్న్‌షిప్‌లో ఒకవేళ ఈ కంపెనీ నేమ్ అంటే ఇవన్నీ డీటెయిల్స్ అని
అవన్నీ మీకు వస్తాయిలేండి. ప్రాజెక్ట్ అనేది ఇండియాలో ఏదో ఒక ప్రాజెక్ట్ పెట్టండి. ఓకే, మీకు ఇచ్చే ఇంటర్న్షిప్ సర్టిఫికేట్ లో మేము కంపెనీ ఇస్తాం కదా, అది పెట్టండి. మన కంపెనీ అవ్వాలి.
ఓకే. ఓకే. ఇప్పుడు మెసేజ్ చేయాలంటే ఈ నెంబర్‌కి వాట్సాప్ మెసేజ్‌లు చేయాలా సార్?
ఓకే,
ఓకే శివ. థ్యాంక్ యూ శివ.
లింగయ్య.
హలో శివ.
హాయ్.
మనము 8 years ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్లో 6 years 5 years డెవాప్స్ 3 years వేరేది చేసినట్టు పెడుతున్నాం కదా సార్. చేస్తున్నప్పుడు మనం లింక్డ్ఇన్లోను రెజ్యూమ్లో వేరే జాబ్ ఉంటుంది కదా, టెస్టింగ్ ఆర్ ఏదో ఒకటి డెవలప్మెంట్.
లింక్డ్ఇన్లో మార్చండి అప్లై చేసే ముందు.
అవి ఇప్పుడు ఆ టెస్టింగ్ మీద ఉన్నది కూడా పెట్టాలా? ఫస్ట్లో 3 years టెస్టింగ్ మీద చేసాము, తర్వాత డెవాప్స్ మూవ్ అయ్యాము.
పెట్టాలి. 6 years అనుకోండి, 3 years టెస్టింగ్, 3 years డెవాప్స్.
ఓకే, ఈ రెజ్యూమ్లో జస్ట్ టెస్టింగ్ అని మెన్షన్ చేసి వదిలేస్తే సరిపోతుంది. రోల్స్ అండ్ రెస్పాన్సిబిలిటీస్ ఏమి యాడ్ చేసే పని లేదంటారు టెస్టింగ్.
ఇప్పుడు ఇక్కడ ఉంది కదా, ఇక్కడ అట్లీస్ట్ ఒక 2-3 పాయింట్స్ అయినా ఉండాలి కదా.
ఇది టెస్టింగ్ గురించి.
యా,
ఓకే ఓకే, అదే అడుగుతున్నా క్లారిఫికేషన్. ఓకే శివ.
వాసు, మోస్ట్ వెల్కమ్.
హాయ్ సార్, గుడ్ మార్నింగ్.
హాయ్, గుడ్ మార్నింగ్.
నాకు యాక్చువల్గా 7 years ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ ఉంది, అంటే వ్యాలిడేషన్ ఇంజనీర్గా వర్క్ చేశాను. ఇప్పుడు నేను ఈ సేమ్ మన డెవాప్స్ టెస్టింగ్ రిలేటెడ్ ప్రాజెక్ట్గా చేంజ్ చేసుకోవచ్చు.
చెప్తున్నాను, ఒక 3-4 years అట్లీస్ట్ ప్రెసెంట్ డెవాప్స్ పెట్టండి. దానికి ముందు మీ ప్రెసెంట్ ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ పెట్టండి. దానికి ముందు మీ పాస్ట్ ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్. ప్రెసెంట్ లేటెస్ట్ 3-4 years డెవాప్స్, దానికి ముందు మీ పాస్ట్ ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్.
అంటే ఇప్పుడు మా దాంట్లో టెస్టింగ్ లో డెవాప్స్ ఇంజనీర్లు టెస్టింగ్ లో వర్క్ చేస్తారు, అంటే సేమ్ డెవాప్స్ యూజ్ చేస్తాము.
మీ ఇష్టం, మీరు ఎట్లయినా పెట్టండి.
ఓకే,
ఇప్పుడు నేను చెప్పేది 7 years లో మీరు
రిలేటెడ్, ఇప్పుడు ప్రెసెంట్ హెచ్పిసి రిలేటెడ్ ప్రాజెక్ట్ ఉంది.
మీరు ప్రెసెంట్ టెస్టింగ్ గా ఏం చేస్తున్నారో అది డెవాప్స్ ముందు చేసినట్లు పెట్టండి. టెస్టింగ్ గా ఉండి డెవాప్స్ ని కూడా మీకు ఐడియా ఉంటే ఇంకా బెటర్ కదా. ఎవరైనా మీ ప్రొఫైల్ చేసినప్పుడు ఇతను టెస్టర్ గా ఉన్నప్పుడే డెవాప్స్ ఇంజనీర్స్ తో కలిసి వర్క్ చేశాడు, తర్వాత మేబీ ఇతను డెవాప్స్ టీమ్ లో ఛాన్స్ వచ్చింది, డెవాప్స్ టీమ్ కి వెళ్ళాడు, అంతే కదా స్టోరీ.
అంటే ఇక్కడ నాకు క్లియర్ నా డౌట్ ఏమంటే, అంటే డెవాప్స్ లో కూడా మామూలుగా టెస్టర్స్ ఉంటారా? అంటే టెస్టర్ మీన్స్ ఇప్పుడు ప్రొడక్ట్ బేస్డ్ కంపెనీస్ లో మేము జెంకిన్స్ ప్లస్ కుబర్నెటిస్ ఇన్వాల్వ్ అవుతున్నాము. అలా అదే సేమ్ కంటిన్యూ చేసి కాల్స్ ఉంటాయి.
అది మీకే తెలియాలి బ్రో. డెవాప్స్ అండ్ క్లౌడ్ నేర్చుకున్నప్పుడు సపరేట్ గా దాంతో వెళ్ళండి, టెస్టింగ్ నాలెడ్జ్ మెన్షన్ చేయండి. అప్పుడు వాళ్ళకి మీ అవసరం ఉంది అనిపిస్తే మిమ్మల్ని తీసుకుంటారు. టెస్టింగ్ టీమ్ లోకైనా తీసుకుంటారు, డెవాప్స్ టీమ్ లోకైనా తీసుకుంటారు. మీకు 2 skills ఉన్నాయి కదా.
ఓకే అండి, థ్యాంక్ యూ.
సో అది మీరు డిసైడ్ అవ్వండి, మీరు ఎలా వెళ్ళాలి అనేది డిసైడ్ అవ్వండి. నేను టెస్టర్ విత్ డెవాప్స్ నాలెడ్జా ఆ డెవాప్స్ విత్ టెస్టింగ్ నాలెడ్జా, మీ ప్రైమరీ స్కిల్ ఏది, మీ సెకండరీ స్కిల్ ఏది అని డిసైడ్ అయ్యి దానిని బట్టి మీరు ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ మెన్షన్ చేయండి.
ఓకే అండి, షూర్.
ఓకేనా? బట్ అది అడ్వాంటేజ్ అవుతుంది మీకు. టెస్టింగ్ ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ ఉన్నప్పుడు మీకు డెఫినెట్లీ అడ్వాంటేజ్ అవుతుంది. ఖచ్చితంగా మెన్షన్ చేయండి. ఓకే
ఓకే అండి.
Okay, that's all for today's session. Have a nice weekend. Bye bye.
Thank you.